Hello and welcome to Stir Crazy Art Classes with Gerald Savine, lesson number 46. We can continue to do the painting of the trees. If you look over here, can you see I've done a bit more work on here. I've taken some of the colour off and put some darker colour in to give a feeling, begin to see the shapes coming along. Alright, so again, if you look at the original picture over here, you can get some feeling where the darks and lights are and begin to get the shaping. There's obviously more to be done, and I'll do the same thing here but with the green with the lemon yellow in. What I'm going to do now is we're going to go to look at the Scotch pine up here, and we're going to see how much we can get of this done in the next quarter of an hour. So what I'm doing initially is I've mixed up ultramarine blue with a little bit of green in, a bit of sap green, thin, and I'm using a number 8 brush here, and I'm going to dab on what I would call shall we say, a background colouring. We'll just see how this comes on here. So I'm dabbing this on, and again, if we see the original picture, you can see how the how get the character of how the foliage is on these trees. How one's different from the other. I'm not worried about getting the lights and darks in at the moment. We're just trying to get the base shaping. See how far we're trying to be as quick as we can. Try and get the character of these trees, because again, they are one of the trees that are very, you recognise them very easily when you see them, because of the way they've got the foliage is at the tops of the branches, and there's a lot of spacing in between. So excuse me, I'm going to cough. A bit more blue, a bit more of this sap green. It's running out. I've not got enough colour going in the first place. That's a bit rich, so a little bit more green to that. A bit more water. It comes right across. Oh dear, so I do apologise. Now again, bear in mind that this is the undercolouring, the lighterness, the way the light's catching, coming right across. Again, as you look at the original photograph, you can just sort of see how the foliage is. I'm afraid I'm suffering a little bit from hay fever, which is a bit unfortunate. Living out in the country, a bit more susceptible. The old farmers are out and about doing lots of things in the fields. And we enjoy walking through the countryside, and I'm afraid again we kick up the greenery, the grass pollens, and the trees are on the go at the moment. Keep running out of colour here, have to be careful. Again, that's another thing you see, is always have enough colour mixed up in the first place. A bit more blue here. But again, it's amazing how ultramarine blue, now see that's come out, how strong that's come out, so it just wants more water in it. Again, I'm not being careful not to have too much water on the brush, so we can, little variations here, doesn't matter too much. I'm going to go up, a bit higher up here, come up towards the top of the page, to the top of the painting. Then we've got here, when we look at the original, we've got colour coming across here. Again, we don't expect them. What you'll end up doing won't be exactly the same. That never matters. It's the, it'd be at the end of the day, it'd be your painting based on what we've got here. Some of the stuff's a bit thinner around here, not so much greenery. But again, here we get the tree gets to mixed up with the other tree in the background. And hopefully as we build everything up, it will gradually lift up from the other one. And again, here we go. We've gone a bit darker over this side, but it doesn't matter so much. And again, we're here, we've got more greenery coming over here. I'm hoping by the time we get round to the finish down the bottom part, we might be able to start putting some more colour on and building it up. So as I say, it's very, very characterful trees, the way the foliage is on them. So it has this sort of odd thing where it tends to be on the tips of the ends of the branches where you have the colour. So that's given us a background to work on. And then we're going to gradually build up on that. So we've done that. Now again, we're going to work with the same colours, but more pigment. I said before, unfortunately, one of the cries we get in the art classes is putting more pigment on your brush. Now, excuse me though, because I've got to, I need to blow my nose. Oh, it's terrible. But anyway, it won't stop. Forgive me for this. There we go. And there's too much green there, so I put a bit more blue in. I'm trying to match up the sort of colouring there. So this will begin to give the colour, the character now a bit more. We've got the lights. Now we're going to a bit more water in at this stage. Don't want it too strong. We just need a bit more pigment. Now I'm going to wash the brush out, dab it off, get rid of most of the damp there. So again, we haven't got it too wet. Now I'm going to start putting in, can you see how that's now working? In fact, I think I need to put a bit more blue into that. So we can work our way across. That's better. What we need to do, I think, when it's had a chance to dry down a bit, we can go back again and bring in some other more delicate patting of the brush, so we get a bit more of the shaping that's involved. If you look here, you can see the layers being created. This is, I find, the big secret, as far as I'm concerned anyway, with doing trees is getting the light colouring on first and then going with a darker colouring to give the shaping. You see here the darker colouring gives character to the foliage that's there. Gradually the whole thing comes together. And we'll go back again some of this and put some darker colouring in places. If we run out of time, then at least you'll know, hopefully you can understand where you're going to be able to go with it. Again, looking how the things swing up, and just getting the character of how the foliage works on the trees. I know you could spend more time. If I was probably painting it for myself, as it were, I might do it slightly differently. I tend to be rather highly detailed with some of my paintings. If you ever looked at my website, you might have seen some of my paintings, and amazingly, if you ever look at the detail, you'll see in fact the smallest brush I tend to use is a number 4. It's, again, so you're using your brushes, you can have a sort of fairly big brush, comparatively speaking, if you're doing some delicate areas, but by just pinching the top of the brush with a bit of paint on it, you can get a slimmer point. You can get some really delicate work going on. Now here again, we're just going to darker under here. Don't put too much colour in there, because some of the bits over there are much lighter. What I will do is now I'm going to be mixing a bit more of the ultramarine blue with the sap green to give a bit more greenness in some places. Again, I'm already running out of paint again. It's amazing. So I've got some paint already available. Same with that. The other thing is normally, although I'm being a little bit more delicate here, I would normally have the paint water in the when I cut out of the tube, not having it thick, but mixed up with the water, ready to go. Here we're being a little bit different, but don't even obey my own rules sometimes or suggestions. But, typical. Don't do as I do, do as I say. Gradually build up. Can you see how it's just beginning to come along? But again, by looking at the original, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring in a bit more sap green. I'm going to mix it up in a different section. It's one of the things I find useful about this sort of palette. You don't have to have too much paint on the go, but you can. They're easy to handle. And now what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to change to a smaller brush. I think I should go to number 6, which is this one here. And again, it's fairly dry, so that's good. Tip of the brush. I'm going to bring in some of the colouring in there. Put a bit more green into that, I think, just sort of dabbing it on. You can pick up some of the character of the tree. Thin that down a little bit, I think. So moving around the page a bit, around the painting. Try and get some of the character into it. Now again, I'm just going to work on a little area now, just to perhaps get some idea how it can begin to build up. What I should do is to bring in some of the stronger mix of blue. I think we're going to be told how much time we've got left. 1 minute left, crying goodness me. Right, well, hopefully that's got you underway with that. And later on, the next one, we'll do some more. And hopefully in between time, if you'd like to look at the picture here again, of how the tree is, perhaps you can get a bit more work onto it and make it a much better picture than I've been doing. Okay, so alright, just begin to get some idea. We can take colour out as well. Right, okay, so it's goodbye for now, and see you